Well, it's a rare free week, I suppose, in terms of working with the first team squad. I know you have a game coming up in the Chester Senior Cup. How have you viewed it from Friday night to what your structure is going to be this week? What are you looking at doing?
The defensive shape for the first half was very good on Friday, but we didn't keep the ball very well at all when we then got it back, and that's a problem. So look, that's an area, but both areas need development, need work. Whether it's 3 at the back, 4 at the back, we've got to. We can't keep conceding goals like we did do, because we're just silly mistakes. But silly mistakes cost goals. But more importantly, we've got to make sure we pass the ball better to each other. There's too many times we whack the ball, and that's not us. That's not crew. That's not my crew team. That's what we've got to get back to. So, the work this week will be trying to eliminate grey areas from the players' minds. If they're unsure of anything, we're going to be far more prescriptive this week and tell them exactly, as opposed to give them a bit more ownership, in the hope that it sort of gives them the clarity that they hopefully require.
Here you are now, towards the middle of November, and you've had many training sessions since you've all come back. Do you still try to introduce 1 or 2 little new things that might just give a spark, that it doesn't become repetitive? Yeah,
look, you're constantly developing. That's the truth of it. And because if you don't and you stand still, you are snookered. But we're trying lots of different things, and I think maybe that's not the right way to go about it. I think it might be to filter it all back, the opposite of sort of the question, if you like, to give them a bit more clarity. Do this, do that, as opposed to, well, if this happens, you could do this, this or this. Because we're not at that stage, it's quite clear. So look, that's the plan going forward, if you like.
How do you keep those spirits high though, and the players bubbling?
I think you remain fair, true, honest with them, and you make them still believe that that they are going. One, they're going in the right direction, which they are slowly, but they are, and 2, you're actually helping them. I mean, if I was a player, I'd want my manager to help me, and the staff to help me, and we still feel we're doing that, and I think the players still feel that we're doing that. It's obviously it's a sombre place, there's no getting around that. But at the same time, you go, well, come on, we're all in it together, what's the onus is on us as staff and players to change this, no one else. So let's not start worrying about anything else or looking around or turning around and looking over his shoulder. Let's face it head on, all of us. There's no pressure on the players. It all comes here. I purposefully make sure that it doesn't go to the players. So, we've got to make sure we turn the corner and turn it quickly.
As you already pointed out, 45 minutes of the game gone on Friday, and the game plan was going well. 8 minutes into the second half, it's 2 down and a massive uphill struggle. Uncharacteristic mistake for the first goal, but it surely shatters that confidence feeling when that happens. How do you keep that going as well? Well, especially with the results that have come your way.
Again, you've got to practice in a way that makes you believe you're good enough, and that's the key. And that's, I think we've got to, like I said, we've got to strip it all back and go back to what we're good at. And we feel, hopefully we know what we're good at, and the players have got to show that as well.
There's been a problem both ends of the field, unfortunately, but goals have certainly dried up, haven't they? That's a concern, but again, you've still got the ammunition in your group to get goals, and is that an area that you're really sort of focusing on now to be more on that front foot, really?
Yeah. I think, like I say, both ends of the pitch, we've got to work at both ends of the pitch at the minute. We can't just focus on one area, and there will be work done on that, yes.
just going back to that uncharacteristic mistake for Luke Offord, he's still a young lad. People are beginning to think, you know, he's 27, 28 with hundreds and hundreds of games. How do you sort of talk with them players? Unfortunately, he made that first error.
Well, he put his hands up straight away after, in the changing room after and said, you know, it was poor. But that's... when you, I think, again, when you treat people properly, they are... you don't want them to have to admit to mistakes, you don't want them to make them in the first place. But they are comfortable enough knowing that that's, you know, that's the mistakes that they make, and you have to accept that as manager. You can't go to town on them. You know, that's not. They don't do it on purpose. You've got to try and make them understand that the reasons why, so that they don't make them again. And I think for by and large, we've done that fairly well over nearly 5 years. We're just going to make sure we do it even better in the next few weeks.
I suppose the biggest frustration has been that you've never been able to get that settled team. There's been all sorts of things. Even at the weekend, you lost your Neil Bennett, and other people have gone out injured, and people have lost the form. You can't get that settled team. I bet you just love to think, let's have a go at a settled team and a settled system to see where it takes you.
Yeah, I think we're going to, again, we made some decisions not based on opponents, just based on us. I think we've got to make sure then we stick by them decisions. You know, rightly or wrongly, that's what we've got to do. Because I think, like I said, there's been too many. A lot of it forced, some of it unforced, and then you look back and you go, that's just a bit of a jumble, if you like, and we can't have that. We've got to try and have as much clarity as we can, so that we become more, harder to beat and score more goals.
One real positive that came out was bringing back into the equation as a 17-year-old in Zach Williams. He would have been getting ready for a youth team game against Harrogate, and you decided it's time to take him with you in the first team, and you've assessed all what he's done now again by watching it. You're well pleased with that? Yeah,
I thought it was good. I thought it was very good. He's a good player. He's a good player. So, you know, he's got a long way to go. You know, I think everyone associated with Crewe always understands that when a player first comes in the first team, they've always got a long way to go. Some more than others. You know, very often they're not quite ready, but we do throw them in and see how they cope. And he coped very well. You know, bolting away on a Friday night, it's not the easiest place to make your debut, I have to say. I thought it was very good. The only downside, he should have scored, and he didn't. But listen, that's a bonus. He was mistake-free, and he did it so well, and he kept his end up. And you go, well, he's a competitive lad. You know, he went into a challenge in the first half, and I'm thinking, oh God, none of that. Then he won 2 or 3 more challenges, and I'm thinking, right, okay, he's up to the speed of the game. But more importantly, he's just dependable. You know, consistent, confident, all the things you want in any player. Never mind a 17-year-old.
Is he with you in your first team setup now? Does he train with you, and do others like in his group train with you?
Yeah, all them 17-year-olds have trained with us from the first day of pre-season. We made sure that we knew we had a good group. So I spoke to Ed and the academy manager and Lee Bell and said, look, they need to train with us all season, and they have done all season. So, you know, we've it took him particularly 3 months to sort of get up to speed, if you like, and you know, and that's important. It's important because that group of players are a good group, but they're all at different stages. Some are injured, and we've got to make sure that they develop into good players. And Zach hopefully is the first one out of that group that has appeared.
It doesn't help how it's hurting where the first team position is, but that must just give you a good feeling that there are a few more in the pipeline that you hope are going to make first team football.
Oh yeah, there should be a few out of that group. It's a long way. You know, you look at Joel Taberner and Charlie Finney last Saturday, they were terrific. You've got Lewis Billington, who's been injured all season. He's got a good future. And others, you know, Conor Reardon's out, being at Kids Grove and Nantwich, for example, and there's others in that group, you know, Sean and Tom and all that. So you go, obviously, Connor Salisbury's played against Newcastle in the pre-season, last pre-season, but he's not quite ready. But is going along great. I'd say he scored 14 goals or something this year for the under-18s. So we know that we've got a good group. We're just trying to get them all, manage them all, and keep challenging them so they keep developing. And that's, I think, probably the best thing about this football club.
Well, you said you know what you've got there. You know what's coming on Saturday as well, don't you? As your next opponents in Gillingham, no matter what we say, they have an effective way of playing.
Yeah. There's no real surprises to Gillingham. John will go and watch them tonight at Cheltenham. I watched them earlier on this season against Wickham. And they are what they are. They're effective at doing it, and we've got to make sure we stop it, match them, stop it, and be better than them.
Just a word on the fans. Obviously, you're back at home. You can understand, like everybody, the frustrations have been shown. You know, even in your own dressing room, even with yourself. You've got to keep them on your side, and it's down to you and your players to do that. Yeah, I can understand. There's nobody more frustrated than me, let me tell you. So I fully understand them. You know, if you're going to shout at someone, shout at me. Don't shout at the players. Because they're trying. We're all trying. You know, so we've got to make sure that you know, we win games of football, so the fans go home happy. That's part of all our job. You know, that it's important they stay with us. You know, it is important. I think the fans understand where we're at in terms of our transition. I'm not sure we've ever lost that many players in one summer in the whole history of the football club, but that's the hand that's been dealt. That's not an excuse, it's just fact, isn't it? But irrespective of whether it's fact or excuse or whatever, we've got to be better, and we've got to produce better performances at both ends of the pitch. And if we do that, then the fans won't have much to moan about. You and your teams in the years you've been in charge have made records and done good records. At the moment you've got, unfortunately, a bad record in terms of one of the worst starts they've had for many, many years. But it's all about focusing on that next game, isn't it? Yeah, we keep saying it. You know, we're only 1 win away from turning the season around. Well, it's got to come. It's got to come. It's as simple as that. And we've got to make sure that we, you know, don't succumb to the inevitable. It can't be that. You know, every game's an opportunity. Every training day is an opportunity, and we've got to make sure that we grasp them opportunities.